Okay, here comes 5-1 day 2. As you can see, the only difference is the vertex is going to get away from the origin. Here's the origin. You can see the vertex has been moved. It's been shifted. Now, once again, based on 5-1 day 1, we are going to, we're not going to relearn or reinvent the wheel. We know that this kind is going to be a y equals a x minus h squared plus k kind of parabola. It's what we've been doing all year. So let's stick with this. And also, because it's up like this, I know that in this case, a is greater than 0 because it's a happy face. Okay? There's the happy face. This guy is opening up to the right. We're not going to use that. We're going to stick with x equals a y minus k squared plus h. And see, this is going to help us find the vertex just like we've been doing all year long. Again, I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel at this time. So let's take this understanding down here to example 7. Should be example 1, but I guess it's piggybacking day 1. But anyways, this says find the vertex, focus, and directrix. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get started by turning this thing around. I'm going to distribute this first. So I'm going to get negative 8y minus 8 equals x plus 4 squared. Now I'm just going to add 8, negative 8y equals x plus 4 squared plus 8. Okay? Now we got to do some thinking. See, this is going to be a y equals x squared kind. So right now, we know it's going to be either a happy face or it's going to be a sad face. But we know that this is going to fit into this category, but we need our a connected to our x minus h squared. Notice how we don't want anything connected to our y. So we're going to multiply this whole thing by negative 1/8. So distribute, distribute, distribute. Get y equals negative 1/8 x plus 4 minus 1. So where's the vertex? Let's go ahead and draw a drawing. This moves it. Oh, forgot my squared, and that would change everything. That's an easy mistake to make too. So this is going to go left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to go down 1, which is right here. Because this is negative, I know it's a sad face. And because it's a fraction, I know it's going to be wide. Not necessary that you get the drawing perfect, because look at what they're asking us for. Find the vertex, which is left 4, down 1. Now it's going to get tricky. Remember the negative, when I go a equals 1 over 4c, I can ignore it. Because c is a distance, very, very, very unique time in math that you can ignore a negative, but in this case you can. You can just look at this and say, hey, c has to equal 2. What does that tell me? It tells me from this point, which I'm going to label in my drawing, negative 4, negative 1, I need to go down 2 to find my focus, which is negative 4, negative 3. Negative 4, negative 3. Directrix is my soil, which needs to go 2 units up. So 1, 2. It's going to be a horizontal line. It's going to cross the y-axis right at 1. So it's y equals 1. And there you have it. So it gets a little trickier when you start moving the vertex. Now it says find the equation in standard form. Again, we'll talk about that. This is just kind of a pain in the butt because they want the new pre-calc form, not what we're used to. And this is what we're used to. This is what you're used to, but whatever, we'll deal with it. So I can't encourage you enough to at least get yourself a sketch of what's going on here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. There's the pistol, don't forget that. Vertex is negative 5, 6. So negative 5, that's 3, 4, 5, 6. And watch, this is going to be a sad one. How do I know that? because it has to go around my focus, which we've nicknamed the pistil. That's where the bees come pollinate. Just a nice little memory tool. Now, from this picture, we can learn a ton. Number one, it's going to be a y equals x squared kind, but it is actually going to have some adjustments. It's going to be more of a y equals a x minus h squared plus k. Now, we can actually, right now, fill in this, because here's my shift in the x direction, here's my shift in the y direction. So I can fill stuff in right now, and I can say, okay, y equals a. I don't know what that is yet, but I will. X, remember, we went left 5, so we're going to go plus 5 squared. And then because we went up 6, we're just going to stick with plus 6. And now we've got other clues. All right? We know by looking at this that A is going to be negative. We also know that C is going to be this distance from here to here. And see, this is negative 5, 3. And this is negative 5, 6. So my distance is 3. So C is 3. I'm going to take these two clues, and I'm going to put them together in this formula. And I'm going to say, aha, A equals 1/12, but it's got to be negative. So there it is. And guess what you're going to do with this? You're going to put it right here and be done, kind of. Y equals negative 1/12. X plus 5 squared plus 6. Now the problem is you've got this standard form staring at you in the face right up here, and quite honestly, I'm just going to stick with this and call her good. Okay? We're just going to stick with that. Call her good. All right. So now what we're going to do, okay, I'll show you what. So this is perfectly fine, but then the darn pre-calc is saying use a different kind of standard form, which essentially means isolate your x minus h squared or isolate your y minus k squared. And so that just means I need to subtract 6, turn it around. Negative 1/12 x plus 5 squared equals y minus 6. And then what we're going to do is just multiply this all by negative 12. And then I'd get x plus 5, see if I can squeeze this in, squared equals negative 1/12 y minus 6. Not a big fan of this. This is what we'll remember and probably understand once we get to calc. All right, let's try this one. So we got to get a picture going and see what kind of clues. There's our pistil. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 is right there. And then our directrix, x equals 5, so 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so there it is. Remember, this is the soil, and this 2, negative 3 is the pistil. So I got to think to myself, okay, if this is 2 to the right, and this is 5 to the right, that's 3 units that separates my focus from my directrix. That means I have to go 1.5 to the right from here, or 1.5 to the left from here to find my vertex, to get my drawing. Now, before I go any further, I want to figure out what that is exactly. So that would be 1, 2, 3.5, and then down 3. Okay? And here come the clues. There's not a whole lot of space, so I'm going to use this area up here. Number 1, I know this is going to be an x equals a y squared kind. I know that, well, and technically because the vertex has been moved, it's actually going to be y minus k squared plus h. And like I did on this last one, we can actually fill this in and fill this in right now, because here's my x shift, here's my y shift. So I'm going to concentrate on this and say, now I know it's x equals a, y plus 3 squared. And because it's 3.5 to the right, we just stick with that. And now we're on the hunt to get A. Well, what are all the clues? Well, I know that A is going to be negative because it's opening up to the left. And I also know that C equals 1.5. So if I put these clues together and I go A equals 1 over 4C, and I put 1.5 in there, I'm going to get 1/6. But it also has to be negative. So if I put this right here, I'm going to get x equals negative 1/6. Y plus 3 squared plus 3.5. And that is done, except they said put it in standard form, which means you got to get your squared stuff alone, get your squared stuff alone. So we'll do it. So subtract 3.5, subtract 3.5. I'm going to turn this thing around. Negative 1/6 y plus 3 squared equals x minus 3.5. Now we're going to multiply the whole darn thing by negative 6. So I get y plus 3 squared equals, and this is, they don't distribute it through, they just write it like this, x minus 3.5. That's it. Standard form. All right. Last problem. This says sketch it. So, all right. We're going to flip this guy around. And, you know, we could, there's a couple ways of doing this, but negative 16 x plus 3 equals y plus 2 squared. See, I could distribute this through, which is what I think I did on a previous problem, but I know my a needs to be right here. There's something missing here, and I don't want something here, so I'm going to multiply this by negative 1/16. It's going to hit that. It's going to hit this. And it turns into x plus 3 equals negative 1/16 y plus 2 squared. I'm going to subtract 3 and subtract 3 so it looks exactly like what we've been doing all year long. And now it's what I would refer to in readable form connected to pre-calc A and pre-calc B. So use this to find the vertex. So this would be negative 2 and then negative 3. So 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. There's the vertex. Now this is interesting. This is an x equals y squared kind, so it's going to look like this or like that. Well, it's going to look like this because of that negative. Now, a nice memory tool is, if this is my x-axis and this was like a Pac-Man, which way would this guy be gobbling up points? To the negative x. So that's my clue. Okay? This Pac-Man would eat the points heading towards the positive x direction. Little memory tool. I hope that helps. So negative 2, negative 3, it's x equals y squared. It's going to open up this way, and because this is a fraction, it's going to be wide. And there you have it. Terrible parabola, but you get the idea.